So, what does it really take to spark real change for animals? Today, we're going to dive into this incredible global phenomenon. I'm talking about the super diverse and growing movements that are all about giving a voice to the voiceless. We'll look at everything from huge political campaigns to these really daring undercover investigations. Basically, all the fascinating ways people are coming together to, well, shift our world.
All right, so here's the plan. We're starting with the big idea, giving a voice to the voiceless. Then we'll see how that voice starts to build real political pressure. After that, we'll look at how activists bring some hidden truths out into the open, how this fight is happening on a global scale, and finally, we're going to unpack where all this power really comes from. And spoiler, it's the people.
Okay, first up, voices for the voiceless. At its heart, this whole thing is built on one super powerful idea, that this global stand against animal exploitation, it's not just some small thing happening on the side. No, it's gaining real momentum, like every single day. And you should really think of this movement less like a solo artist and more like this huge, powerful chorus. It's not just one big organization calling all the shots. Not at all. It's actually a massive collection of different groups and, just regular people, all working from their own angles but singing the same tune on one core goal: to totally change how animals are treated. So a great question is, how does this chorus actually turn its voice into real power? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is putting pressure on politicians. I mean, think about it, right? One of the best ways to get change that sticks is to get it written into law. And activists, they're getting really good at organized influence. A perfect example of this? Check out the End the Cage Age initiative in the EU. What's so smart about this is how focused it is. See, they're not trying to boil the ocean and solve every single problem at once. Nope. They have one super clear, super powerful goal: get farm animals out of cages, period. And this support they got from the public, it was absolutely staggering. We're not talking about a small online petition here. This thing gathered over 1 million signatures. 1 million? From citizens all across the EU. That's a number that politicians just can't sweep under the rug. It's a loud and clear message from the people that they want change. But hey, change doesn't just happen in government buildings, not by a long shot. A massive part of this movement is all about direct action and investigation. The goal is pretty simple: expose what's really happening behind closed doors and drag that unfiltered truth right out into the open for everyone to see. So what's in the activist toolkit? Well, it's pretty varied, and it's definitely impactful. You've got these incredibly brave undercover investigations to get proof you just can't argue with. Then they publish that shocking evidence to wake people up. And of course, you see them staging these very visible protests right at the front doors of slaughterhouses and government buildings. The whole point? To make what's been invisible completely unignorable. And these tactics aren't just random acts. There's a strategy here, a kind of chain of change. It all starts with a revelation. Someone uncovers a hidden truth. That revelation then sparks a ton of public attention. Once you have everyone's attention, you can channel it into targeted pressure on the companies and politicians involved. And that pressure is what finally leads to real, concrete change in how things are done. It's like a domino effect, and it all gets kicked off by one simple act: telling the truth. And I really want to stress, this isn't just happening in Europe or North America. No way. The fight for animal rights is a truly global thing. And what's fascinating is how it connects with other massive issues, like protecting the environment and even human rights. Just look at the anti-fur movement, for example. It works on two fronts, and it's so powerful. On one hand, you've just got millions of people making a personal choice, right? They're deciding, nope, I'm not buying or wearing fur. But then, all that individual pressure adds up, and it translates into this huge global impact, where you see entire countries deciding to ban fur farming completely. It's the perfect example of how individual actions can lead to massive systemic change. And the fight gets even bigger. Head down to South America, and the pushback against cattle farming isn't just about the cows. It's also a desperate fight to protect crucial ecosystems. You have indigenous peoples who are literally on the front lines, risking their lives to stop their ancestral lands from being destroyed by deforestation that's being driven by the beef industry. It just goes to show you how deeply animal advocacy is tied to environmental and social justice. Now, here's an angle you might not have thought about, and it's a really compassionate one. There are these initiatives, like the Brave New Life Project, that get that these industries are full of real people.
So instead of just pointing fingers at the system, they offer a positive way forward. They actually help slaughterhouse workers find and retrain for totally new careers, building a bridge for them to get out of that industry. Okay, so this brings us to the final and maybe most important point. We've looked at political pressure, those undercover exposés, global campaigns, all of it. But what's the one thing that ties it all together? What's the secret ingredient that turns all these actions into a real force for change? Well, it's something simple, and it's absolutely undeniable. It's the power of the many. And honestly, if you take away just one thing from all this, it should probably be this idea. Real change isn't a choice between big movements or individual actions. It's both. You've got the immense social pressure that comes from organized campaigns, and then you have the incredible impact of millions of people making their own choices. When you put those two things together, well, it's like a tidal wave of change that becomes pretty much impossible to stop. So you can see how it works. The more people that start to question what they consume, the more people that decide to speak up, the more pressure builds on the whole system. It creates this powerful loop where change isn't just a possibility anymore, it becomes an expectation. And that leaves us with a really big question, right? What's the next step for this movement? And maybe even more important, what part will you and I play in what happens next?